So, kind of putting, not a wrap here on Budapest 2024 with the HireUA team, but kind of getting down to the last couple days. So tonight we're going to go out to a club and have a little bit of a party. And then this is the end of the workday. So we spent the last 2 days just filming a lot of content. We've made this, 5-part, 5 cities, the Budapest part of it. And I've been just absolutely amazed at how much work it takes to actually film something like a quality production. So I'm sitting here, with my iPhone Pro, and it's just on a selfie stick that's sitting on a box here on my balcony. But, having two video editors, one holding, a professional camera and a whole tripod setup, and another one kind of just roaming around, has just been so eye-opening that 90% of the work is setting up the shot, and then just the last part, the actual talking or the acting or the performing is such a small part of it in the scheme of things. It's like 10%, maybe less. And so now it makes a little more sense to me why movie stars just kind of show up and they pop out of their trailer, they say their few lines, and they go back, and everyone else sets up the next shot. So it never gets easier. I think it's something that has stuck with me. This quote, which is like this quote has stuck with me from Greg LeMond, which is that it never gets easier. You just go faster. And I think that's kind of the same way with entrepreneurship and being a CEO, is that it never gets easier. Like, I still have, the decisions get harder, but the decisions that I have to make now, or the problems that I solve now versus a year ago, I'm much more equipped. Like, the problems that were really hard a year ago are now simple now, but the problems are still there. It never really gets easier. You just solve harder problems. And I think I talked about this on a video when I was interviewing my executive assistant, Yana, earlier, that it's such a different skill set to be a leader and to be a CEO than it is to just be a business owner, or just to be an entrepreneur. Like, actually leading people and trying to get the best out of them, as opposed to just doing it all yourself, is such a different light bulb. It's a switch you have to flip, and it's really difficult to switch that. And I think a lot of people can't. And what the end of the day is, they end up in a business that they can't exit, they can't sell, they can't do anything with. It's just they're tied to it because they haven't put the right people in the right places. They haven't trained them the right way. They haven't figured out like how to make this part of their business tick. And I think that's where you really have to you have to look within yourself, because you can't go about it alone. If you want to build like a real company and you want to have like real freedom, it's really hard to do it on your own. But it requires you to change yourself from within, but not in a way that, like entrepreneurs, we just brute force it. I'm going to make this work. And you just can't do that when it comes to other people. It's just not so simple, because people are not simple by their own, human nature. So I think that's what's really intriguing to me these days, where the better I am, the better everyone else is. And that it almost for everyone else to be better, it requires me to be worse in some ways. And I kind of joke now, like, I want to be the dumbest person in the company. That would be ideal. It's such a different mindset. And I think most people get stuck in their business because they can't flip that switch off of being the worker and being the driver. And I think it's helped me most of all from being in a hiring agency. Like, because I've built several companies now, and they've all been much smaller. This is by far the biggest team I've ever built. And I think the only, like, to be really honest, I think the only reason this one has worked and that I've been able to flip the switch is because I would be a goddamn hypocrite if I didn't. Because I have to go, and talk to people on sales calls, and, talk to clients and network and partner and tell people, like, you should hire someone to do this for you. So I have to walk the walk. I can't just talk the talk. And I think if I hadn't talked to hundreds, thousands of business owners at this point about their hiring needs and what they're struggling with and where they're bottlenecked and where their time is going, then I wouldn't probably actually have that self-perspective to do it myself. So I think it's a difficult industry, recruiting. I really think it is, because you place humans with another human. And so there's human elements on both sides. Instead of it just being like a human and a product, it's humans on both sides. So you've got the potential for things just to go completely haywire. But this business has allowed me a better, deeper understanding of people and business owners than I could have with any other business. Otherwise, I don't know if I built just a random software company and tried to hire, I'd probably still be lacking that skill to be a better leader and a better CEO. I don't think I would have developed it as quickly. I don't think I would have been able to open my eyes as easily. So in many ways, I'm really grateful that my entire business journey has led me down this road. And I think it's so interesting to me that everything has a step. So, I built my first business, the dating blog, because I wasn't good with girls and I was struggling with dating. And then from there, I ended up using my old skills, SEO, niche sites, built a bunch of stuff from there. And then I basically, because I was good at SEO, my olive oil partner found me. He was a reader of my blog, which I'd never started the blog, I never would have met him, never would have built that company, which got me noticed in a lot of other ways. And then, of course, living in Ukraine, buying property, getting married, never would have been living in Ukraine where I could have started this business placing talent from Eastern Europe into Western businesses. And of course, everything kind of comes back to actually being out here in Eastern Europe as opposed to living in the States, where I don't think it just wouldn't have worked. Again, it's a lot easier when you're just kind of, walking the walk, so to speak, out here. So I'm grateful for everything that has transpired in my business world. And I think everything happens for a reason. I'll just admit that.